Hi all, I just want to welcome you to Chemistry 100 for winter 2021. So Chemistry 100 is preparatory chemistry. It serves as the preparatory course for what's called the General Organic and Biochemistry sequence of classes. And that sequence of classes is often taken by people looking to enter into the allied health areas. My name is Dr. Lee West. You can call me either Lee or Dr. West. So here is all of my contact information and a little bit of information about when we're having office hours and our question and answer sessions. So as I mentioned, my name is Lee West. You can call me either Dr. West or Lee, I really don't care. I have an office in the Library and Science Building. It's in the basement, room 131. You can phone me there, and if you do leave a message, you can rest assured that I'll get an alert of that at my email. You can contact me via either email, or you can also send me a Canvas message. Each is equally effective. My Canvas messages go through to my email, so I will eventually get them. But yeah, that's a great way of reaching out to me, especially in an online environment. Every Monday through Friday at 10:30 a.m. we'll have office hours via Zoom. And I just want you to be aware that this is traditional office hours, so it's open to all of my students from all of my classes. So I often will have 3 classes, and so you need to speak up in order to get your question answered. And there's a couple of ways of doing that, and we'll talk about that in a moment. However, every Wednesday, we will have a session at 2 o'clock via Zoom that's specific for this class, where we'll go through things like homework problems and preparation for tests and quizzes and stuff like that. And we'll just focus on Chemistry 100 at that time. So it is important to realize that this is an online class, so there is no traditional lecture. You don't have a meeting time every day. So that, means that you have to be a little bit motivated about how you organize your time to make sure that things don't get away from you. So we won't be meeting every day at a specific time. So if you do come to Zoom office hours or the Zoom question and answer sessions, I ask that if you could mute yourself before you kind of join the meeting. And it gets a little bit embarrassing if you're sitting there sort of unknown to you, accidentally broadcasting a conversation with yourself and your family. So what I like to do is just leave myself muted, and when I want to speak up, I just hold the space bar, and that will temporarily unmute me. So every day we will have office hours at 10:30 via Zoom. That's a great time to ask any of those little questions that you might have. And just be aware that sometimes people during office hours, just like regular office hours on campus, they want to speak to me one-on-one without everybody hearing. So if that's happening, I'm going to put everybody else in the waiting room until I finish talking to that person one-on-one. So just kind of like sit tight if you find yourself in the waiting room. It's normally finished in a few minutes. It's the equivalent to standing outside my office door while I finish up talking to somebody. I mentioned previously, you want to be aware that office hours is a time for all students across all of my classes to ask questions, and it's not a replacement for lecture. So just be aware of that. If you come to office hours, you're not going to get a lecture. You're going to get people who are there to have specific questions answered. It's important to recognize that if you do have a question, that you might have to be a little bit proactive in making sure that it gets answered. And so often the office hours time is already kind of like assigned before people have even begun arriving, because what's happened is people have sent their questions in via email the day before. So that's a great thing to do. If you have something you'd like me to go through in office hours, is you can just send me an email and say, hey, could you go through this particular question? And it really helps if you can send the title of the question. The other thing you can do is turn up to office hours and just verbally speak up, or send me a chat and say, hey, could you go through this thing? Okay, so we should look at the nature of the assignments that you'll be doing and some other sort of logistical matters regarding the class. So the textbook that we're going to be using is this Foundation of College Chemistry by Hein, and there's another 2 authors. We're using the 15th edition. It doesn't matter whether it's the hard copy, the loose leaf, or the ebook. It's really not important. It all has the same content. You'll need access to a means of performing basic scientific calculations. Most people will use a scientific calculator or an equivalent online tool. A couple of examples of online tools would be Desmos. This is really great for your math classes. Or another online tool would be something like Wolfram Alpha. I really like this for chemistry because it does everything that Desmos does, but it was designed by a chemist, so it's a little bit more intuitive for the type of calculations that we're doing. You'll also need to purchase access to the ALEX online system, and this is the 10 character code that you'll use when you register with ALEX. This runs at about $40 a quarter. Okay, so the nature of the assignments that you'll have every week that you can rely upon having is that you'll always have assigned readings, and these are readings from the book. And just to make sure that you actually do read the book, we're going to have you make handwritten Cornell notes and then upload those to Canvas. Now, these need to be done by midnight on Tuesday, so that by Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we can kind of get on with applying the content, knowing that everybody's read the material and we can start doing work associated with that material. So you'll need to work on figuring out how to make a PDF from some handwritten notes. I like to use an app on my phone called Cam Scanner. That works really well. And you just take a photo with the app and it allows you to save it as a PDF. It's pretty simple once you get the hang of it. And I posted a video explaining how you can do that in the week 0 module. Now, Cornell notes may or may not be familiar to you. You should learn about them during your college success class, but it's a really simple format for the notes. It just allows us instructors to have everybody's notes in the same format so that we can use a rubric to grade them. And it's also important that people that are studying in the technical fields learn to write to a particular specification. You're going to have to do that again and again and again. So we're specifying the formatting of your notes, and we're expecting that you use that format. If you're unfamiliar with Cornell notes, I've put a link in there explaining how to create Cornell notes. That's in the week 0 module as well. I've also put it in the week 1 module. So every week you get assigned readings. This week it's 2, for week 1 it's 2 chapters, chapter 1 and chapter 3, and it comes out at about 24 pages of material to read. So think about how long that's going to take you. Every week you'll have what we call ALEX objectives. These are problems that you'll answer using the ALEX system. We have about 15 for week 1. Just to give you an idea, you need to 15 topics, I should say, for week 1. You need to answer 3 questions per topic in order to complete that topic, to demonstrate mastery of that topic. Your ALEX objectives will take a little while, and I've set the deadline for those as being midnight Fridays. Okay, so the thing about ALEX objectives is you have to get those 3 in a row correct in order to master a particular topic. So we've got 15 topics, and you need to do 3 of them in a row. So you've got about 45 questions for week 1, for example. Now, the thing is that how ALEX works is you have to get 3 in a row correct. You get 1 correct, you get 2 correct. If you get this guy wrong, it backs you up. So ALEX really rewards slow and steady, right? Otherwise you can kind of just keep going around and around and around in circles. So be aware of that. Once you start working with ALEX, you realize that reading the question very carefully and working very cautiously is the best strategy. Okay, every week you'll have some other kind of assignment to do. Sometimes it's a quiz administered via ALEX. Sometimes it's what we call a case study, and sometimes it's a discussion. So quizzes are, a bunch of questions that are often quite familiar in their format, similar to questions that you've been doing for homework. That's pretty simple. They're normally timed. And then case studies are, you're given a particular scenario. You might have a page or 2 of material to read about that scenario, and then you're answered asked to answer a bunch of questions about it. So they're questions concerning a particular reading. And then discussions normally follow a pretty familiar format to you, which is respond to a question, to a discussion prompt, and then comment on other people's answers. So these weekly assignments, you're going to get one of them a week, and they're due Sunday midnight. Okay, there'll be 3 tests approximately equally spaced throughout the quarter, and they're all going to be administered via the ALEKS system, and they're also due at Sunday midnight. And then finally, we're going to have a final exam. It's going to cover the entire content for the whole quarter, and that'll be due at midnight on the Wednesday of finals week, and then that gives me Thursday and Friday to grade it. So that's the general layout of the class. So it's complicated. It feels complicated to begin with, but it has a pretty consistent format, and you kind of just get into the groove after a while. So what happens is there's a module for each week, and within that module will be your readings and your assignments and all of the resources that you need to complete the work in there. There's video lectures every week, and then at the very bottom of that module, there'll be a bunch of assignments that you are asked to do. So what I would ask you to kind of consider is to make sure that you really engage with the readings and the video lectures before you attempt the activities that you are assessed on. And then that'll save a lot of frustration, right? If you just kind of focus on those assessments, you can often go around and around in circles because you don't understand the content. I'd ask you to kind of like make sure that you understand the content before beginning the assessed activities. Otherwise, that you can get frustrated really, really quickly. All right, so how does it all kind of work? It works kind of like this. The first part of the week, is you're studying the content, right? You're watching the video lectures and you're reading the book and you're making those Cornell notes. You don't get many points for doing that because you just, anybody can do that. You just have to spend the time on it. So remember this week, you got about 24 pages of stuff to read, and there is about 7 videos to watch, right? So think about how you're going to divide your time up. For most of your week, you're going to be spending time practicing, right? Basically, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be working in the ALEKS system on those ALEKS objectives. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that's what you're doing. Now, that's a considerable amount of work, and so the point value increases. Now, this is completely open note. This is, it doesn't matter how many attempts it takes for you to do this. It's purely based on completing the work. So as long as you do the assignment, you're going to get your points for this. It doesn't matter if you get it wrong the first time. You just kind of keep going until you get the assignment completed, right? So you could theoretically do well on this even if you haven't learned a lot, right? So we need a few activities that allow me to see if you actually learned anything, right? To demonstrate your learning. And of course, this is where you're going to get the bulk of your points. So what are these things that allow me to tell if you've actually learned anything? Well, these are all of your weekly assignments, your tests, the final exam, things like that, right? And that breakdown of that points is that's worth about 65% of your grade. So what I would say from, reading people's student evaluations and things like that, and looking at how people have performed, having taught this class in this environment for quite some time now, is that the key to success is doing a little bit of work each day and having a good plan for the week. So you can see that I'm already kind of like starting to break this down for you, right? You've got 24 pages to read, you got 7 videos to watch, and you want to get that done by Tuesday. So think about how much time that's going to take you to get that done Monday through Tuesday, right? It's going to take a little bit. Now, then Wednesday through Friday, what are you trying to do? Well, you're trying to do a couple of things. You're trying to get ready for your weekly assignment, which in week 1 is a quiz. a timed quiz, and you're trying to get those ALEX objectives done. Now, we've got about 45 questions to answer for those ALEX objectives, provided we don't get any wrong and we don't have to do things more than once. So that's going to take a little while, and I can start breaking down how many topics I need to finish every day in order to be on schedule with that, right? Okay, and then finally, I've got to have enough time to do my my quiz. So I need a little bit of time to revise for it, and then I'm going to need time to actually take the quiz. Yeah, okay. So, what I suggest is, having a rough plan every week. It's going to probably change week by week depending on what your outside responsibilities are. But, looking at the module on as soon as you can on Monday, and seeing what's coming up over that week and making a little bit of a plan goes a really, really long way. Okay, so people often ask, how much time should they schedule? And I think if you schedule, and you may or may not use it, 2 hours a day, you're probably going to be okay. So if you kind of got a plan, if you can fit in 2 hours a day, and and just kind of plan on having that amount of time to study chemistry, you can always increase or decrease accordingly, but that's a great starting point for success. Okay, guys, well, that's me. I'm done with the intro. Please let me know if there's any other ways that I can help you, and I'm looking forward to meeting you all throughout the quarter.